Hey, everybody, and welcome to another installment, yet another edition of Work Your Career Wednesday. And I got to tell you, I'm so glad, honored, and blessed once again that you're joining us today. And I got to tell you, I need all y'all today. And we'll go over why in a minute. But I have an amazing guest, Nicoa. Man, one of the most successful podcasters. We're going to get into why is she even on today? Why is she? We're going to get into it in a minute. But hey, Nicoa, let's pay some bills right quick. You good with that?
Absolutely do it.
All right. If you need anything, everything, and what's another word for anything? Uh,
All the things.
all the things related to video. You're talking about a podcast, talking about music video, a conference of sizzle reel. I just heard that the other day. Like some speaker was talking about getting a sizzle reel together. Lord have mercy. We got the sizzle and the shizzle for it. Oh my God. You got to be just, oh, it's so good. Get in contact with with Steven Saldana. The number is on the screen, or you can always, if you are listening, get in contact with us at www.whitehuskyfilms.com. Let me tell you something. It's so simple. It's so simple. All you have to do is dream, create, record in that order. And when you choose White Husky, and now for your audiobooks, you'll be so glad you did. We have one of our most amazing sponsors, Jane's Physical Therapy. We're talking about Jaynes, home care physical therapy specialist and hiring. Nicoa, we're hiring in the New Orleans
Hiring.
area.
Growth, baby.
I'm gonna tell you right now. You know what's also interesting about JPT. I went in to go view our analytics on the podcast platforms. I kid you not. His is number 3 most listened to. So that
Wow.
means we're reaching a lot of people. And let me tell you, we're hiring in the New Orleans area, North Shore, South Shore, West Bank, all around New Orleans. We are hiring. I need right now, and the immediate need. Now, this is that we filled these jobs, right? So, because we started out with 5, now there's so much going on. We need two PTs,
Wow.
full-time PTs. Can you believe it? And one PTA. But get in contact with us. Go to Jane's Physical Therapy on LinkedIn, or go to JanesPT.com. That's JAYNES.com. It's on the screen. Apply today. If you've seen his show, you know what kind of guy Casey is. He wants to see you successful. He wants to see your weeks going and full. Just apply. I don't know what to tell you. It's great. It's really great. It's really great. And gosh, we got some good people hitching their wagons to us. I got to tell you, Honeycutt Southern, Houston band, got a new album coming out. They got a new single out right now called "Sick Twisted Paradise," all about life in the music industry. You don't have to be in Los Angeles to understand. Honeycutt Southern, make sure you download their music and watch out for their album, Not Backing Down. And we also have TV Dolls, Lord have mercy. Oh my gosh. Ed Patterson, go follow him on all the platforms. Um, man, who is somebody else is going to shout out? Maybe I'll do a commercial break. But without further ado, let's get to Nicoa Cornelius. Your name is insane.
I thought for sure you were going to do Nicoa. You remember that commercial?
Okay. So truth be told, I was thinking about doing that,
I knew
but I
you
was
would.
like, how many other people have done that? I'm like,
Everybody
everybody's
everywhere.
done it.
Yep.
So I was like,
Nicoa.
was let's truth be told, let's go. We have one of the best podcasts around called Coffee with Nicoa. Um, and I can't wait. I'm about to be on your show
That's
next
right.
month. I'm so excited
I can't wait to
to get
host
into
you.
that. But you know what? I've listened to your show. I love it. We've talked, offline, obviously, and I always say that it takes a lot of violence, a lot of fighting to be this gentle. And after years in executive management in HR, you know, we got a lot in common in that regard. We've
We
seen a
do.
lot of things, and
We
we've
have.
heard a lot of stories, and we've shepherded people through a lot of hard times, and ourselves have been through some hard times.
Yep.
And the fact that you are really helping people create a life by design, Nicoa, she is an executive coach, but really, I see you really coaching a lot of people, like we always are striving to do uh in these platforms, at the
Yeah.
end of the
I'm
day.
trying to incorporate that more too. I mean, I've been interviewing individuals who already are role modeling, a life by design. I
Yeah,
like to say that a life by design, the kind you don't need a vacation from.
I heard that.
You're getting up in the morning, you're not dreading putting your hand on that mouse for your Zoom calls. You're not dreading putting your hands on the steering wheel. You're actually enjoying life and you're waking up
Tell you.
energized. And so I've really tried
Yeah,
to attract a number of people onto the podcast, like yourself. I mean, people are having fun and living a life. And here's the thing, a life by design, you're already designing it, whether you realize it or not.
come on.
So my goal is to help them become a lot more intentional about what they want in their life and design it so it absolutely serves them 100%.
Had my cousin niece. She's my cousin, but I'm Uncle Brad, and I was
Yeah.
confused growing up too. So I was like, man, look here, they're gonna be confused too. Both of
Yeah.
them are sisters. I'm Uncle Brad, and you figure that out later. But she's vice president of sales and marketing at Jersey Mike's. She's a franchise owner too, and we were talking yesterday, and something occurred to me. It was like, we are always creating.
That's right.
And what I mean by, right, we're always creating. There's not a time where a human being is not creating. Now, you're either creating opportunity, you're either creating, really designing, and going with all of that, or you're creating obstacles, but you are never not creating. And I wanted to bring this up to you today because I'm curious. I mean, you of all people would, I can't wait to hear your answer to this. But when you're encounter folks, even masters of the universe, like, presidents, vice presidents, CEOs, and
Sure.
all of us,
Sure.
and they come to you and they're like, I'm just this and I'm that and I'm blah 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 blah, and I thought I could achieve all this. And what's your answer to get them just to like,
Yeah.
listen, you know what I mean?
Well,
Snap them out of it.
well, the first thing you do in those circumstances is that I don't really have the answer because that's not the job of the coach. But what I do is I validate how they're currently feeling. And I really validate their thought process. Because when they say, oh my God, I should be the next, leader of the free world or whatever, and they're not there yet, then I say, well, and they're upset, say, well, hey, of course, if that's what you thought you were supposed to be doing at this point, and anybody in your situation that hadn't quite achieved that is going to feel that way. If you're going to make it
Yes.
mean that, right, then naturally you're going to be disappointed. So then we just spend some time sitting in the energy of the disappointment or the frustration or the annoyance so that we can then back the person up to say, well, what would you prefer to think about this? Because at the end of the day, here's the number one takeaway about you. You can probably turn it off after this because I'm going to go ahead and give you the secret sauce. You're the common denominator of your experience, of your life. So
I don't want to take that responsibility, Nicoa.
yes,
What are you
you
talking
must.
about?
You must.
It is someone else's fault.
Exactly. I
Dadgummit.
know. And it may be, but you're the only one who can make it mean anything.
You got
right?
that. Oh my God. Help us, Jesus. That's exactly right. Well, yeah, you know what? It's like any sort of hand, like of cards or whatever. You're gonna get the hand you're gonna get dealt, right? And you may have to fold them cards, i.e., give up on something and pivot, fold them, know that there's going to be another hand coming through because you're still in the game, you're still in the arena. That, you know what I mean? It's
I
like
do know
everybody
what you mean. that
Go
takes a
ahead.
lot of internal dialogue and self-awareness to be
I
able
heard
to
that.
shift your perception of what's happening to you in your career, path, either,
Yeah.
whether you're in pursuit of an opportunity or you're in the middle of your opportunity, um, or as my father used to say, you're between opportunities. If you got
I'm
laid off, or
I'm
you're
just between
I'm between
opportunities.
opportunities at the moment. I mean, this is good for those of you listening and you're at a cocktail party next week. I want you to just use that phrase when somebody says, "What do you do?" I'm between opportunities at the moment. But the
I'm
goal here
between
is for the
opportunities.
for you to realize what you're making it mean, right? And it can be liberating or it can be annoying.
Debilitating or annoying.
Yeah.
Well, how many people, and I think, what I mean by these rooms.
No, what do you mean?
Well, in AA and all that kind of stuff, they talk about these rooms.
Oh, okay.
And I've seen people that have gone that way, and they're full of people of all walks of life, but you never know who you're going to be talking to. You never know who's going to
Right.
be talking, right? And a lot of times, depending on where it is, uh, there there are people that are under a high level of stress that, how much of that stress is self-inflicted.
Well, all of it, because our only about 10% of stress is environmental, and the rest of
Yeah.
it is self-induced because it comes back to the meaning we give it. So you're having an
Yeah.
experience at all times where you're having a thought and then you're
Yeah.
giving meaning to the thought, and then you have a behavior as a result of that thought. So the work I do around energy leadership, which is the foundational concept I like to use to measure how someone, their attitude and how someone sees the world. Once the person understands what their view of the world is, where their default tendency is, negative Ned, negative Nancy, or optimistic, Aura, whatever. That's my mother's
Yeah.
first
Yeah.
name, actually. Ora. Anyway,
Oh my
optimistic
goodness.
Aura.
I heard that.
Yeah, man. So once you understand where you see the world, and the way you see the world is based on how you were raised, society,
Yeah.
marketing, what that one teacher told you that one time, what that neighbor yelled at you said, what your big brother did to you, all of that creates an attitude, and it
Yeah.
creates your interpretation of the world. And it's like wearing a pair of sunglasses, and you tend to shift the vision, like those, like, what were the transition lenses, right? Depending
Yeah. It's a
on
trend.
what you're
Yeah.
looking at.
That's right. That's
Yeah,
right.
you're going to transition your attitude based on, I didn't get the promotion. Well, what am I going to make that mean? Well, I might have a stress reaction. You were talking about stress.
Yeah.
When I have my stress reaction, I might feel real victim, like level one energy. And this concept of energy leadership says, oh man, of course they didn't pick me. Anybody, I've already lost before I've even started. Or maybe I get that level two fighter set of lenses and I go, damn it, I can't believe they're looking over me again. What the hell?
Yeah.
These people suck. Maybe I go to that next level, which is the rationalizer, and says, well, I guess this one wasn't meant to be. I'm just going to keep going and keep working and move forward. And that's a thought process that becomes anabolic, right? Responsible. I take responsibility of how I'm going to perceive what's happening to me. And I can keep going up this level, of these energy vibrations of perception, which maybe I'm the caregiver. Oh, well, I'm really glad that other person got it. She needed a promotion more than I did. Right? There's the caregiver. And then the win-win, the level 5 is the opportunist. And maybe they go talk to the leader that made that hiring decision, say, tell me more. I want to learn about what I missed, why you didn't choose me, and what I need to do to move forward to get this opportunity next time. And then level 6, just part of the journey, right? I am you and you are me. I'm not going to judge it. And then ultimately, the goal here is for you to be so conscious that if something happens, you can sit there long enough, create a space between you and whatever just happened, and choose one of those 6 levels of energy to apply to it. Because the question is,
God.
how does this perception serve me? And if it doesn't, am I willing to look at it a different way?
So important, especially for folks that call themselves servant leaders, to understand
Absolutely.
what you just said, because these opportunities go toward that level of how does it serve me? It's the one time that they can say, how does this serve me?
Yeah,
If I'm not in the right space, I'm not an effective leader. And
that's
I'm
right.
certainly not a servant leader, but it sure sounds good when I talk to people at the parties.
Well, the servant
Oh,
leader that
I just serve.
overserves, yeah.
You got, come on. I was just going to say it. Go ahead. Go ahead. Go ahead. The
I say
overserver.
the overserver turns into the freaking martyr, and they are burning themselves out. And you just can't have it both ways. You've got to self-serve, and it's strategic. It's
Yeah,
not selfish. You got to find strategic self-care and balance out your giving. You're not a better person because you overgave. If anything, you're less effective, to your point. I mean, that's exactly your point.
exactly my point. And, and I got to tell you, I mean, I found out these things the hard way, man. I
I
really
know.
did. I mean, I was really successful in my 20s. And I remember not getting a promotion, and oh, I was fit to be tied. I was so mad. And then I got an award that they forgot to give me at the big ceremony, and I made sure they gave it to me. And you know what's funny? The same day I ripped my slacks. So the entire branch in San Francisco, I got my award and I walked with my ripped slacks, all proud. And I said, there, and you know what I mean? I am telling you, it was, and I thought I was,
Is that karma?
I thought I was justified. And I thought, oh my God. And, looking back on the mistakes that we make and the power we give away, is really, like I said, it takes a lot of violence to make somebody this gentle.
You
And
know,
sometimes that violence is self-inflicted.
I have to tell you, I don't like that word so much, but because it seems so intense, but it
It is
is
intense.
violent. And have you ever read that book? I'm forgetting the guy's first name. I'm looking on my shelf, but it's called Nonviolent Communication, and
I
it's
have
really good.
I've certainly not read that book.
Yeah, okay. You need
I
to read
probably
that book
should.
because the book is powerful in that we begin to recognize that so communication and your language is really critical here to
Yeah.
become that tender and gentle and ultimately wiser, right? And more grounded. We have to recognize that we are creating our reality with our words.
Mhm.
And when we are self-disparaging or, self-abusive verbally, or when we're trying to control people, like our
Mhm.
kids or the people
Mhm.
around us, we're actually, those types of dialogues are violent,
Yeah,
violent communication.
that's
Even if
right.
you might be like, oh, I just told my kid, no, I want you to do it this way. That's actually violent communication. So when we can learn more collaborative ways of communicating, and again, you can use energy levels, you can use what am I making it mean, but you have to come back to a set of questions that I recommend people consider. And
Okay.
it's back to what do I want, right? So how will it best serve me? So what do I want is the first question. And I invite you to ponder why. Why do I want that? Right? You got to
Mhm.
really understand, why do I really want that? So you want your kid to do what you told him to do. Why? Why am I so caught up in getting my kid to do that? Understand the values behind it. What is the value here? Then the second question becomes, how's what I'm doing getting me what I want? Am I getting what I want? Well, I started yelling at him and he still hadn't done it. Well, I asked real polite like, and he still hadn't done it. Well, there must be a different way, right? Well, if I'm not getting what I want, am I ownership, common denominator? Am I willing to try a different way to get what I want in this situation? If I'm not, can I accept what is without judgment? Now that's the key.
Probably
That's the
not.
kicker. Probably not.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Well, I would say absolutely not. Everybody stay right here. We are with one of the best podcasts. I tell you what, if you're not tuning into her show, Coffee with Nicoa, I don't know what to tell you. But I tell you what, you better tune in next month because I'm going to be on. But
That's
hey,
right.
stay right there. Stay right there. We are going to be right back with more Nicoa Cornelius I am, we taking all the time today. Stick around. We'll be right back.
Jane's Physical Therapy has immediate openings for full-time and part-time positions. For home healthcare physical therapists and physical therapy assistants, we are actively looking in the New Orleans and Lafayette areas. Call Bradley Clark at 713-364-8777. Join us at Jane's Physical Therapy, and let's help Louisiana get back to living life.
Hey, everybody. Welcome back to Worker Career Wednesday. I got to tell you, wow. On these breaks before the show, me and Nicoa are having a whole show without y'all. So we're going to try to get this, we're going to try to keep it going. And, here's my promise. I'm going to go through the next break. We're not going to take another one because these are just too good. These are too good.
That's because half the time I don't know if you're recording or not.
Oh, no, we're recording. We're just, oh my gosh, it's so good. It's so, okay. Nicoa, you spent just several years in corporate management, in HR, and there's a reason both of us aren't in it anymore, and we're trying to help people navigate their way out. And you have already said you will be on Work Your Career Extra when we debut it, and I'm so excited for that. People need to understand. Let me put it this way. I don't think people are training recruiters or even TAs. TAs, it's set up to gather, which I never understood. If you're talent acquisition, you need to go be acquiring candidates.
Right.
It should be talent gathering, not acquisition.
I've spent in that time when I was in corporate human resources, I worked for companies like GE, Thermo Fisher Scientific, some of the big ones globally. And
somewhere you have real problems with people applying. You know what I mean?
Well,
please.
I spent more of my time trying to train my team in the concept that they're marketers and that they're really trying to represent the organization, and that every interaction, I used to say every action, every reaction, every interaction is critical. You're always being observed, and you're always representing the organization with those interviews, with those dialogues, with the way you interact in the bathroom next to the candidate while you're washing your hands. I mean, everything about it is a representation of the culture. And so I did have to spend a lot of time doing some training for my teams, and I would spend a lot of time asking them about how they felt in those conversations. And that helps, because if they can articulate, lots of times your team members are nervous. And, you're talking about wanting to talk about those Reddit, all that stuff about the bad HR. I have a hard time with it sometimes, because I also, since I was HR, and you feel this too, right? We're doing the best we can, man. Like,
not only, and not only,
but we can do so much better.
So much better.
And I think we have to apply the same tools that our manufacturing brethren are applying, that our, process improvement tools. I bought a whiteboard for every HR team member I ever had when we did all these big acquisitions. I put a whiteboard in their office, and I said, now I want you to, that recruiting process, or that hiring process, or that onboarding process, start mapping it out. Show me the map. And then what you uncover is what they call in Six Sigma, that hidden factory. Well, we do, this is the process, but I actually have to go talk to 3 people before I can get that done. And the speed to hire, the speed to post, the speed to get somebody up to speed, it can be improved. And it has a lot to do with the process piece and the attitude of the individual participating in all of that.
Nicoa, I hated the database, and I hated putting notes in the system. I really did, particularly when I was an agency, because I'm like, I'm going to keep my, I'll have my own notes. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is my guy. No, she's mine, and you can't have her. So, but when I got into doing different things on contract with different companies, it's critical. I am telling you, I went in, and this is a small part of what you're talking about. I went in because, again, gathering. Okay. TA. And
Right.
I would walk into it and people would really get upset with me because I'm like, I'm a hunter, man. I'm like, let's go. I mean, you know what I mean? If you can't move your hiring manager to make a decision, then you're not a subject matter expert and you're an order taker.
That's a
You
good
need,
point.
I mean, I'm not a VP of engineering here. I'm a hiring expert. You
Yeah.
take my advice and you'll win. If you don't, eh, sorry.
Well, it's
You know what I'm saying?
advising. I mean, it's,
What's advising?
HR business partners are not there to execute on your wishes. They're there to coach and advise.
I
And
really like this person. Do not hire that person. I am telling
right,
you, you will regret it. Well, why? Because XYZ. Well, I don't like this one as much. That's the one you need to hire. Why? Because whatever it is,
right.
be that expert. But so I get to this one company. I kid you not, Nicoa. And I'm looking through the system, and I looked up different candidates that we either hired or came in or whatever in the past before BC, before Clark,
Before Clark.
and good candidate should interview.
Tell me more. Tell me more.
I mean, I spoke well, submitting.
Yeah, we got to train people, especially, I think about this not only in the context of recruiting, but I think about it in the context of doing performance reviews, right? When you started saying that, when I think about performance reviews, let me give you a story. This one's a good one to help remind people because they can apply it anywhere when they're trying to describe someone or a situation. So here's the story with the basic story. So we had a leader. She was responsible for getting a bunch of product to a location in an efficient time. And she did so faster than ever before. And it was complete and check. And she got that goal, sufficiently completed. Mm-hmm. Okay, fine. Well, let me tell that story again. And let me tell you why this person becomes the outperformer versus the average performer. So this female leader, right? She gets this product, which happens to be power generation, and she's able to coordinate with the airline industry and get in an airplane within a few hours of an emergency circumstance, gets the products loaded and delivered across the country to New York City, and has whatever amount of power generating lighting. It was also in the very first plane back in the air on 9/11. So if we're not writing stories about people in the context of the impact, she pulled something off single-handedly. Obviously, she had a team, but she led the effort to get lighting to ground zero so we could look for bodies. So let me just say, people don't understand how to write performance reviews. They don't understand how to write goals or interview content. They need to be able to describe things in context and really listen and write the story. It's a story every time.
Let me ask you about that, because I am a writer, and at one point somewhere I would get a lot of what would they call it, TLDR. I get it too long, didn't read. You know what I mean? And I remember getting a performance review, and I was so excited because I killed it. I mean, I had my first hire within 3 weeks. 3 weeks in a very difficult role. I mean, and I had to revamp their entire structure on how things got done, in terms of the interviewing process. So I'm looking forward to it, man. I'm like, yeah. But you also reviewed your manager, which I'm like, I know what this is, but I'm going to do it anyway. And, man, I wrote an opus, not too long, but I really appreciated her. I really did. Yeah. I mean,
you gave examples.
Gave examples.
Context. Yeah.
I really did. I wanted her to get, I mean, she did not have as much recruiting experience like at all that I did,
But you wanted
but
to grow her.
I wanted to grow her, and I'm not managing her. She's supposed to be managing me. That's the whole point. They hired me because she didn't
Okay.
need to manage me. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So man, I wrote, man, it was so good. And
I think
then
there's
I get
power in the
mine.
pen, and
I
that
get,
we have to be
but wait, wait,
really,
wait, wait. I
go
get, because you
ahead.
know where it's going. I get mine, and I'm just like, well, thanks. Like, doing well, doing, and but that, you know what I mean. That was the culture, and I think that the reason I bring that up is because that I think that's part of the problem. I see this thing, Amy Miller. I'm having her on the show soon. You know, she's on LinkedIn all the time. I know you've seen her, and she's like the anti-hero
Mm,
for recruiting right now. You know what I
hmm.
mean? Because she's got our old school, our basics. If you don't move from the basics, they will always be relevant. She's got that, you know, and there are recruiters on there that say that they don't prep their candidates because they want the hiring manager to be, I don't know, to have their own opinions. And they're going to have, it's like, how would you not prep your candidate? If you're a recruiter, why would you not do that?
Yeah, weird.
It's so weird. But
Do
it's
you think
like,
it's just because people are they're just distracted? They just want sound bites or just
I,
too much on their plate? I mean, I do wonder
no,
about that. Or
I
it's maybe
think
it's just not enough role models doing it any differently.
there's not enough role models doing it any differently. And the
Yep.
ones that are doing the hiring aren't telling them it's wrong. And then
It's
they
because
have a
we all
few,
quit.
we all quit. We're all like, see ya. Good luck,
Yeah.
buddies. Good luck. You know, hope it works out. I mean, I'm telling
Bradley,
you,
yeah, you're talking about primary needs too at the ultimate,
oh
the
my God.
foundation of these teams. And for those people who are interacting with human resources and have an
Yeah.
opinion, I think that we should invite them also to find a way to give constructive feedback and not attacking feedback. And when, our words are our wand, and we talk about a life by design and creating our reality. If you're complaining
I
about
love that.
HR, then you're a part of the problem.
Come
So you
on.
got to go help. You got to help. I mean, if you're a leader in this organization and your HR team sucks, then go talk about it. Go talk about it with your
Yeah.
CEO. Go find people to help groom them, give them more training, talk to them, give them very specific feedback. And do it in the context of, man, you guys do this really well. And I bet you could do this even better. Here are some thoughts. Not you
I have to
guys.
get better at that. I have to get better at that. Okay, so I'll give you an example. So when we were recording one of the songs really did well for me when I was a musician called Thank You, I put together an ensemble, a choral ensemble that we ended up they sound like a choir, right? And so when we were in the studio, I gave them ample time to practice, blah, 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 blah. They come in the studio and I just pulled a straight Ray Charles on them. I said, y'all know that sounds awful. I need you to do bop, 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 bop. My wife, my wife comes in. She ended up being the director of background vocals. She comes in and she says, listen, honey, let me handle this. I'm like, look, I can't believe this. We're on a deadline. Because we were approaching,
Yeah.
and she wrote those background vocals in that studio, and it sounds so good. I wouldn't change a thing.
Mm.
And later on, I had to become better at articulating things in a way that, because I'm a big proponent of this. And again, through experience, people may forget your words, but they'll always remember how you made them feel.
That's right.
And I never wanted someone to feel badly by taking any sort of direction from me. I never wanted them to go home and say, man, I'm this and I'm that and blah, 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 blah. And who is this Brad guy? I want him to succeed. I really am that guy that I want
Yeah.
people to be successful. But you are absolutely right that you have to be able to, for me, I think I'm a pretty direct person,
And you can
but
be direct. I call it what do I call it? I call it plain talk, values based. right? Plain
I
talk,
love that.
values based. Because if I'm direct, here's the takeaway, y'all. Just tell the truth.
Oh
And
my God. Is that where we were going? Is that where it was? That's right. Yes.
truth telling. And you can tell the truth with kindness and compassion and objectivity and diplomacy. That's what you got to learn. What you're afraid of is that, oh, you want me to lie to them? You want me to tell them something I don't believe in? I said, no, I want you to learn how to tell them what you believe in a way that's effective. And to your point, Bradley, they want to be good leaders or they want to be good influencers across departments, across divisions.
Yeah.
They need to learn how to use their language and to use their words. And they are creating a reality every time they have a conversation. And so, like I said, life by design and leading by design is very intentional. It's very strategic and it takes practice. But the good news is you can learn how. You can learn.
Did you see the energy shift on my?
The light.
Did you see that the lighting went in and out 3 or 4 times? Isn't that wonderful? Isn't that amazing?
The angels are like, hell yeah.
That's right. My goodness, that's so good. That's so good. I think people get so caught up, and I think maybe this is why. So, beginning of 2023, there were, let me get this right. I think there were 30 new HR, was it this year? It was this year, 2024. There were 30 new HR laws in California alone. 30 new ones. And you know what that is. That's set up for very intentionally, you know what I mean?
Controlling.
Yeah. And so assuming a company's not going to do it one way, we're going to force them to do it our way.
Right.
But I think there's a lot of, and for the people that are new in the business, it was really rocking their whole get down, because now we, not only do we have to watch our speech, now we have to co-sign behavior that is not productive in a working environment or workplace, right? So I'm not saying that's the way it is with everything, but I'm saying that that's what they were, it's like, oh my God, now we're going to get sued all the time. And I think maybe that's part of it, to where
people are afraid.
They're afraid. And I just, I've always been that guy that I don't go on one side or another to alienate the person, you know what I mean? Alienate my audience. But I think that might be one of the reasons why. And I think new HR teams aren't, no matter the letters behind so-and-so's name, there's that fear. But if you just tell the truth, and you tell it, if not love, but in a way that you want the person to be better, if the person's better, the team's better.
I think it's a sense of self-confidence that we need to really instill in these individuals and the team members, because the more confident you are, the easier it is for you to have that really good gray area conversation with an employee when you're HR. I think
and so valuable,
because people think it's black and white, and there's these kids, oops, I'm old, 55, but there's these youngins that are down there, and they're like, well, that's not the rule. Well, that's the rule says. And I'm like, well, let's just back up a minute. Let's just see why the rule is here. And what the goal is with the rule. And then what is it that we'd like to do within this organization that still supports the rule, but also supports our employee?
Right.
Some people are like, well, we've never done it that way before. And I'm like, well, we might do it this way one time. Well, you're setting precedent. I said, I don't give a shit. We're going to do it anyway. Excuse me. Do we cuss?
That's all right. That's okay.
We're going to do it this way for this employee in this circumstance based on these reasons, and we're going to do it. And then we may never do it again. But right now we're making that decision. And we have to have confidence as an HR professional to push towards those types of situations and support them and champion the employee. It's either coming from a space of fear and or love. Everything we do is from fear or love. So what would love do right now? What would peace do? What would be the path of least resistance in this moment? And if I am a confident HR person, I begin to ask these questions to myself. I own it. I'm not so focused on the external rules and restrictions that make me walk around and go, well, my hands are tied. Well, they said, well, I'm a victim too. Come forward, have an opinion, be a voice of change. And by the way, the higher up you get, don't just blend in. I read an article talking about beige leadership. No. Take advantage of being the leader so that you can influence in an appropriate game playing way to make the world better in your organization. Find the way. And you have that responsibility if you're going to step into a leadership role, in my opinion.
I will. That is my opinion as well.
Yes, there we go. We will agree.
Absolutely everything you just said.
What she said.
Beige leadership? What? I don't know, man. Doc and Marty messed something up, man. They need to go back and fix it. I don't understand this timeline whatsoever. And it's funny. I was talking to a friend of mine the other day, and I said, man, something I don't understand. Like, just the fact somebody, oh my God. Did you read that article? No, I know what their point. I get it.
Yeah. Don't be in beige.
Don't be
beige.
But the point is, why would you have to write an article talking about beige what does that even mean? I mean, I know what it means, but
you're right, because they felt like they needed to say, stop conforming. Stop it. Stop conforming.
Yes.
Because sometimes people have worked so hard to appease their leaders and play by the rules. And if I keep playing the game this way, I'm going to get promoted. And then if they do get promoted,
then that's co-signing on that behavior.
That's right. What got they got to figure out. Somebody told me once, I don't know, this person was a little naive. We were young at the time. I started my first job at GE Nuclear, and this very granola friend of mine was like, you're going to work in the nuclear industry? And I was like, first of all, nuclear is very green if you would research it. But secondly, I'm going to be inside, and I'm going to make a difference with every person I interact with. So for those of you struggling with your own purpose in the corporate world or the organization you find yourself in, go find the purpose. And maybe that purpose is just you coming from a space of love and, really using that plain talk, values-based approach to influencing others. And that's going to be a ripple effect of peace in the organization and change that culture. So don't ever think you don't have power, even if you're not in a leadership role. Don't be beige, though, in the process, for sure.
Everything. I don't know.
All the things.
I don't even know what to say. That was all the things. I agree with all the things there. I really, well, oh my God, you have no idea. You have no idea. Well, it's so, and I'm not, I'm telling you guys, if you're not listening to Coffee with Nicoa, I don't know. And I got to tell you, so I had hot coffee and see, now that cup gets used, buddy. And I had cold coffee.
Yep.
I'm fully caffeinated.
And now I'm having water. End of day. It's end of day. I didn't even bring my coffee with Nicoa. You know what I got? What I'm drinking out of? My mama cup. My daughter
I love it. Is that one of them Stanley cups?
No, I'm a Yeti girl.
Oh, there you. I heard that.
We both like sponsorships from Yeti. Thank you. Thank you.
I tell you what, I love Yeti. I love Yeti. Yeti is great.
Me too.
I'm sorry, Yeti, but I pulled several marketing people out of your company.
Oh, whoops. That's because they're so good, and
they're so good.
Sponsored by them.
We'd love to be sponsored by them, but then again, hey, Stanley has they had cups and Buc-ee's too.
That's true.
I would love to have a sponsorship from Buc-ee's. Not that they ever give any, but I would love that. And Stanley, I wouldn't say no. I mean, convince me.
What we're doing right now? We're having fun, but we're also asking. And if you're not asking, as a candidate,
the answer is always no.
That's right. As an HR person, as a leader, start asking the questions that are going to help you be more effective and give you the life by design you really want. Because if you're not asking, you're just sitting around being victim to it. So, yeah, start asking.
I got to tell you,
Starbucks, I'd like a sponsorship for Coffee with Nicoa. Thank you.
I drink Oh, see, I gotta
I
clean my
had one a
house. That's
minute
why.
ago.
There you go. But I gotta tell you, I'm just so when we do work your career extra and you come on, I want to make people really well aware. It's a irreverent show. If you like this, you're going to get even more of that over at Extra. And the thing of it is that we're going to go through that subreddit recruiting hell, like I did on my solo show. I guess that's a month or so ago. And it's not there to make fun of the ridiculousness of it's a cornucopia of misunderstanding.
Yeah.
And
It's
it's
the
not
shine light.
and you know what's really, it's a shine light on it. It's like people are, look here, there was a recruiter that was on there, and it was a long, and I get where she was coming from, but it was a long thing about my hiring manager wouldn't move, and he dragged his feet and we lost the candidate. And I just told her, I said, listen, you need to solidify yourself as a subject matter expert, and that way your opinion carries weight. At the moment, your opinion is not carrying any weight. So you need to solidify. And she's like, I really needed that today.
Good.
That kind of thing. If we're not helping, we're hurting. So it's
That's
not
right.
there. We're not trying to make fun of it, but I got to tell you, it will
Sometimes
be hilarious.
It's funny. Yeah.
It will be funny. On the show, there's a story about a guy that he was relocating. He said that this company reached out. They're willing to relocate him. And get this, the Zoom call went so well, they're going to fly him in. So they flew him in. The recruiter, God bless her, I know she prepped that candidate. Boy, so good. Interview was 2 weeks out. So that gave the TA enough time to gather, because I know that's what happened. Or there was another recruiting firm that got somebody in there, and they hired somebody within that 2 weeks. But they didn't tell the candidate, and they let the candidate fly in.
Oh.
The people he was prepped to meet with didn't meet with him. But not a red flag. That happens all the time. If you're meeting with the VP of customer success and that VP's got to go handle something, you're not.
Sure.
But if you're serious about that candidate, you're going to put people that have weighty opinions. And that VP it's a 15-minute call. Hey, I know you met with so-and-so. They really loved you. We're going to move forward. Well, that didn't happen. They flew this guy in. You know how you can tell, with writing and stuff. They flew him in. Nicoa, they spent 17 minutes with him. And they said to this guy, we often do this so we can gauge chemistry.
Just
you telling me you fly in? Oh, I'd love to see that budget. You fly people in for 17-minute chemistry shots. I think that Zoom call would have told you everything you need to know. But anyway, it's that kind of stuff. We're going to be talking about it. Nicoa, you are amazing.
Oh, and thank you. You're amazing. Takes one to know one.
Well, there you go. There you go. But the thing of it is you go through all of these things and all of these experiences, and you bump your head, and you're in those conversations. And one of the things that I love about when you bring people on, it's like, what makes your life what did you tell me? You said, I want to know why it's so great being Bradley Clark.
That's
and
right.
I'm like, I'll tell you. I'm gonna save it for your show.
You better save it.
But you know what? In those stories, there's you hear the pain, and you hear what changed people. Nicoa, what was it that? And I don't know, man. I don't know. But was there a point in your career where, or in your life, where you were just like, I mean, boom, 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 and then something changed? Or have you always been this sort of fountain of knowledge and built successful teams?
Well, nobody's always the fountain of knowledge till they gain the knowledge, right? But at the end of the day, I was living the American dream checklist in the corporate world. I mean, I'd become a member of the behemoth of General Electric. I mean, everybody in the family pretty proud about that, right? So
that's right.
You get into that process, and you just can't stop. I remember when I ultimately quit my corporate job in 2009 with a stay-at-home husband and 3 kids, 12 years of age and under, with no plan. I literally am in a meeting with my CEO and I quit my job. And I did not know I was going to do it. But I remember thinking, I have done everything on this American dream checklist, including the stay-at-home husband, right? I had a quote unquote wife. I had everything. Had houses and cars, and I had been doing it. And it wasn't that the career wasn't great and I didn't enjoy it, because I was really good at it, but I was going so hard and so fast all the time. I had completely abandoned Nicoa. Like, I didn't even know who I was outside of that identity. So I knew how to play the game. I knew how to win the game, and I gained knowledge every step of the way. And then I began to get annoyed and frustrated, and things would trigger me a lot more easily than ever in the past. And I remember sitting there with my CEO that day, and I just didn't agree with him. And he and I were like, I trusted people until proven otherwise, and he didn't until proven otherwise. And I just said, I was like, you know what? I don't think the two of us will ever be on the same page. And I quit my job. Now, I do not recommend this. I would like you to be more strategic in your quitting if you decide to quit your job.
I mean, I'd love to know what that severance negotiation looked like.
Right. So, well, fortunately, it's easier for somebody at that level to quit because you have an executive contract. So I triggered my contract. So let's just put it that way. I had a year, but that doesn't mean I didn't feel like I was about 2 inches away from being a bag lady and on the street.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah. The fear was great. And then I worked my way into a whole new way of being, and then realized, oh shit, same circus, different tent. Just because it was on my own terms after I left the corporate world didn't mean I still wasn't dreading the phone call on Sunday night from my CEO of the company I'd started, or resenting somebody, or getting annoyed with my partner, or whatever was happening. I thought, wait a minute, what do I really want? So the whole career thing was really based on the brainwashing of the American dream. No one really asked me why I was doing it. They just told me this is how you do it. And this is a very common challenge especially in our culture, and more so globally than ever before. I wish someone had asked me the following question. Why? Why are you doing that? Why are you taking that next job? Why? Okay, well, why? So root cause analysis on everything. Okay, well, why? Well, because they offered it to me. Well, okay, well, why do you want it? Well, it's the next natural progression. Okay, well, why? Well, I get more money. Okay, well, why does that matter to you? Why? If you don't really know your why, then all you're doing is you're part of the cattle. Okay, next, let me help everybody be more successful, and let me just keep making money and drinking too much wine at the end of the day. Whatever it is, you got to know your why. And I wish somebody had started asking me that question when I was a little girl. I remember my brother told me, he goes, I know what you wanted to be when you were very young. I said, you did? He said, yeah. He said, we stood right out there in the backyard, and I asked you, what do you want to be when you grow up? And you were about 9 years old, and you said, I want to be an executive that has an office with a window and a door. Now, where did I learn that? I don't even remember that conversation, but I did it. Yay, me. And now I'm going to quit so I can go actually be happy.
Wow.
Right?
I'm trying to think of what TV shows were on back then.
That would have been, so I'm 55, so that would have been in the 70s, 80s, 70s, late 70s.
Was there even ones that were on?
Lord, we only had 9 channels, and that was because we had cable.
You had cable?
9 channels.
Oh my gosh. Wow.
I know.
I remember we had the 3 or the 4, and then you had UHF.
Yeah, I remember that.
And that's where all the cartoons were.
I remember watching Lost in Space on Sunday morning because there wasn't anything else on.
Oh yeah. I always knew that when Solid Gold came on, that was the end of the cartoons. I was like,
Hee Haw. We watched Hee Haw.
Oh, Hee Haw. Minnie Pearl was a good friend of our family's. Really good friend.
Are you kidding?
Not kidding at all, because my dad was an evangelist. My mom was a gospel singer, and we would minister at Jimmy Snow's church. So Jimmy Snow, the Elvis's
Oh,
friend, and
right,
then
right, right.
became a pastor. Hank Snow's son.
Oh my gosh.
So he was like the pastor in Nashville for quite a long time. And yeah, yeah, I
So they were
remember.
friends with Minnie Pearl. Well, my dad and a friend of his opened a barbecue restaurant in Raleigh, North Carolina. And
Uh-huh.
the highlight of that very short run of running a barbecue business was that one time we served Minnie Pearl.
Oh, what she was awesome. Minnie
My mom
Pearl was
said she
awesome.
was. Yep.
Oh, she was amazing. Well,
How
they
funny.
all the country stars that era were really good. Little Jimmy Dickens gave me my first guitar that I still have and I've recorded with. It was a Grammer made by Billy Grammer himself,
Wow.
and the case of it says Opry Show on it.
Neat.
And my mom tells me that she made sure that my dad would sell anything that wasn't nailed down, basically. And she's like, no, you ain't selling that guitar. You're not selling that guitar. And I
Won't do it.
still have it. I recorded with it. Oh my goodness, that is so cool. We don't have so much. This show is exactly what I needed today.
Yes.
I am
Well, I'm so
telling
glad to
you.
be here. It's been, it's always fun to talk about experiences because, I really think we need to respect our elders. And now that you and I are getting up there in age,
Now that we are elders,
we're elders and hey, we didn't wait for anybody to ask us our opinion. We just created platforms so we could give them. So hey, y'all better
that's right.
listen up. We're giving you our opinions and our advice.
And if there wasn't a need for it, we wouldn't have them.
Let's hope so. Let's hope.
I hope so. And especially because we love drinking out of Yeti cups.
Yes, we do. Thank you, Yeti, for my free engraving that my daughter got. Thank you very much. And
what
I'll
do you
see
think?
you guys on Coffee with Nicoa and on the extra version of Work Your Career Wednesday. We're gonna have a blast, Bradley.
Oh, we're gonna have so much fun because it really is funny. Like the world of hiring, people don't get that the world of hiring is in and of itself so much drama. Like with the person getting the job, that's so much fun. And then the whoever's closing the deal or putting it all together. And I mean, it's a lot of drama. And then all the people that you talk to is, some are good, some are great, some are hilarious. But you make a lot of friends along the way.
Well, you make a good point. It should be fun. And the people in those jobs, they need to love the job they're in. And if they don't, they should go do something else and create
really go
their
do
life
something
by design.
else. Yeah, for real. They really need to go do something. Well, here's the other thing and you brought this up and I forgot to comment on it, but it's so important. You got to realize that the recruiter, that HR coordinator, or whoever's doing the recruiting, that is your first facing opportunity with that said company.
That's right.
Companies hate recruiting. They hate it. They hate the fact they have to do it. They hate the fact that it exists, but it's a necessary, quote, evil. But they have to remember, especially with all the marketing being, look at all the things we're doing, come work with us.
Yeah, right.
You know what I mean? And so the recruiter has to understand, or talent acquisition. And if you're in a recruiting company, if you're an agency, if that's your client, all right, I'm a firm believer you represent the client and the candidate equally, right? You have to understand you're the first facing, you are a marketer.
Yeah.
Right there.
That's my point. Exactly. I came on an airplane one night after a full day of meetings with our executive team, and we had to hurry down to Florida for a big sales meeting after a major integration. And I'm walking on the airplane and I'm burnt and tired. And we're all flying together, which was a violation. You're not supposed to put the whole executive team on one plane, right? So we didn't care.
The first thing I thought, I was like,
yeah.
I was like,
wait a minute. So we're getting on this plane, and the flight attendant looks at me and she's like, "Oh, are y'all all working together? Like, who do y'all work for?" And I was tired. And I looked up and I just said, "We work at Thermo Fisher, Thermo Electron, blah, blah, blah." And I put my bag up and sat down. And I kind of saw out of the corner of my eye, she kind of crestfallen a little because I wasn't engaging. So she turned and she started talking to somebody else. And I saw that. And I put my bag up and I turned around. I said, "You know what? Let me answer your question again. And she was like, yeah. And I said, I work for Thermo Fisher Scientific. We just merged Thermo Electron with Fisher, and we are now the world's leader in serving science. And we're in over 30 countries. And I'm about to go down to our very first sales meeting, and I'm so excited. And I appreciate you asking who we're with. And this team's working really hard to make that happen. And she brightened up and she said, I want to come work for y'all. Not kidding you. Now, she didn't end up, she was a flight attendant, but that was the face to the world. Yeah. And I knew I had that responsibility. And in that moment where I had responded out of fatigue and blah, 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 and I thought, no.
Wait a minute.
I represent this company. Let me do that again. So if you don't think you're being watched and you don't think you have that responsibility, then you're sadly mistaken and you're in the wrong field.
You were in the wrong field, you know, and hey, if you are in the wrong field, pivot. Maybe, I mean, who knows? Maybe you're not a marketer. Maybe, you know what I mean? You know, maybe you're something else, but go do that, because I love that story. And that is a 1000% fact. That's what you have to do in those situations. And not that you have to do it. If you're doing that, no, but if you are that,
it's a missed opportunity. If you don't choose to do it, it's a missed opportunity. Right. And, you know, they don't have, I remember seeing a BASF ad once, like randomly. Nobody knows what BASF stands for or what they
do. Yeah.
Right. So, but they made an ad because they were like, you know what? We want people to know who we are and what we create and what we support. So they'll come work for us.
That's right. That's exactly right. BASF.
Right.
I remember
people Googling it right now.
Exactly. You know what? How long ago was that? Because I think we're thinking of the same ad.
I think it was a while back during a Super Bowl, like a while back. I don't know. It might have been 10 years
ago. 20 years. Like, I think it was 20 years ago.
It might have been.
Because I remember it. BASF.
Isn't that funny that we remember that? I just.
Oh, yeah.
Well, so every action, every reaction, every interaction is an opportunity. And whether you're in human resources, recruiting, or you're just a leader. I mean, even leaders, we would go into a meeting. We would as an HR leader, I would strategically remind my executive team, now listen, we've been in this boardroom with the door shut for 4 hours and everybody knows we've been in here. How will you walk out of this door and down the hallway? And what will you say if somebody says, what y'all talking about in there? Layoffs? Be ready for your response as to what we were working on, and hold your shoulders back, have your head up, and make eye contact with everybody that you come in contact with in that hallway. You are a leader first, and then you go be you behind the closed door. And you can authentically lead, but you have a responsibility to show up that way. And it's a reminder. I hope your listeners will think about that, not to put extra pressure on them, but to just remind them this is an opportunity and you're being watched.
You're being watched. And to your point, you know, let's say that meeting ended at 3:00 and all of a sudden it's rumor mill has already been started.
That's right.
It's going on like wildfire. If somebody comes out and they're not leading,
right? Let's say they're head down, they're distraught looking, they're exhausted, and they may be, but they have a responsibility to buck up and show up.
What if they just happen to look at somebody, you know, like
I know.
All of a sudden,
my team used to tell me, they were like, oh, she's stressed out. She drank a Mountain Dew before 10 a.m. I said, seriously, y'all watching my Mountain Dew intake? I don't even drink that shit anymore, but I'll tell you, that was like an indicator of, oh my God, Nicoa's tired or Nicoa's stressed. She got her Mountain Dew.
Got her Mountain Dew. My goodness, man. You're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. You know, what are the biggest okay. You have someone just entering into leadership. However they got there, whether it was I don't see how, but beige leading or what?
Right.
When you're in a situation where a chief executive is looking at you, and you may be a chief executive on that team, right? But your chief executive is looking at you and give me the real. I want to know the reality here. And that happens more often than not. People,
Right.
because I think people get corporate politics wrong in a lot of ways. It's
They do.
politics is less about just feelings are feelings, whatever. But
The way you overcome that is by having a relationship with every member of that team.
exactly,
You have to
exactly.
know them. And
But
if you would embrace it, so I have this concept that we actually applied this back at Allscripts when I worked there. We laid off a whole bunch of people, and we were about to actually hire new sets of new and different roles. Right?
mm-hmm.
We were positioning the company for acquisition later, and we decided that we would have a big town hall, and we stood in front of the organization. We said, "Listen, we want to invite you to choose door number 1, door number 2, or door number 3." So now we choose you. We've already
all your
chosen
statisticians,
you.
all your
Yeah, we're already
statisticians are
like,
gone.
you guys are the ones that are going to help us take this organization to the next level. But you got to choose us. You got to choose the company. So if you choose door number 1, it means, you know what? Never mind. I don't want to be here. I don't like it here. I don't like what you just did. I'm out. So we want you to go out door number 1. Thank you very much. We'll figure out an exit.
Mm-hmm.
If you choose door number 2, which a lot of them were at the time, they had like 1 foot in and 1 foot out. And they were like, well, I'm not really sure what's going to happen around the corner there. So I'm going to still answer that recruiter call. And maybe I'm just not going to give it my all.
In which case, get behind door number 1. Okay.
Right. Then you can go to door number 1.
You
exactly.
can go
because door number 2 just kind of setting everybody up for mediocrity.
That's
right?
exactly right.
Either you in or you out. So door number 3, we said, we invite you all to choose door number 3. Door number 3 says, hell, man, I don't know what's around the corner. I don't know how this acquisition is going to go, but I know what my job is, and I'm going to do it to the best of my ability, and I'm on this team. The next morning, I had all the leaders down in the foyer waiting for the employees to come in. We were there at 7 a.m. and we had like 1,000 employees in this one facility. And we put a 3 on every door in the whole building. Choose door number 3. And we gave a lapel pin. This is how long ago that was. We gave a lapel pin to every employee that walked in the door that said, I choose door number 3. We had 3 people choose door number 1 that week. I'm like, thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Efficient. Thank you for leaving. And then everybody else just had to kind of figure it out. Either I'm in or I'm out. And I share this story because your listeners who are frustrated, they have to decide.
That's
if
right.
you are in, be all in. Show up. Do the work. If you're not sure, get the hell out. Go find something you are sure about. And it's okay. You're not failing. The company didn't fail you. It's your journey. So decide, are you at door number 1, door number 2, or door number 3?
There is and I love that. That is, I think everyone, if you're going through the same thing, they should absolutely do what you just said. At one company, I was like, we need to, because the leaders were former military. I said, why don't we have like pins that denote achievement? And those are your medals, right? And you wear them with pride. You know what I'm saying? But one thing that I think is missing now is there's been, how bad news always travels quicker. And the whole thing about quiet quitting.
Yep.
God, I hate that. And then there was, there's been a lot of people.
Either you're in or you're out. Exactly.
That's door number 2.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That should go to door number 1. I interviewed somebody that said, I saw my dad, have a heart attack right at his desk. These companies don't care about you. And, it's like everybody wants to have their cake and eat it too. They want the paycheck without,
Yeah, it's
I'm
a
not,
two-way
I'm not,
street. You have an
I'm not going to say too
agreement
much.
with an
Right.
organization. They agreed to pay you, and you agree to show up and engage in the organization and do your job. That
Right.
now that you and I are older, I'm
Right.
not sure that Gen Z would say that that's still the case. And I don't
See,
want to.
that's to my point. It's like now,
Yeah.
I know things have happened, but they probably didn't happen to you. And if they did you create that situation that it happened that happened to
Maybe.
you?
Yeah,
Was it
maybe.
you know what I'm saying? It's
I
like
do.
we need to stop with this.
We have to take responsibility for our own experience. And just because someone next to me is having a bad experience doesn't mean I have to have a bad
Yeah,
experience.
exactly right.
Yeah.
Exactly right. And you don't have to co-sign on bad behavior. I'm so tired of
No.
this to where we're allowing this the co-signature of you know what I mean? And,
I
and
know.
let's talk about what co-signing means.
There's a lot going really well though. I mean, I wish, and sometimes I wish I was back in HR because of the power that HR now has to really influence the culture a lot more than
Oh, a lot
maybe they had in
more.
the past.
And this was
So I think,
this has really been within the last couple of years,
yeah,
I
I'm
think. And I think
excited
and then
about what's
maybe
possible.
that's another thing, Nicole. I'm sorry to cut you off, but I
It's
just had
okay.
this thought. What if HR and the recruiting industry don't know what to do with this newfound power?
Well, they're not prepared. Most of them are executors of tasks, to your point earlier. And we need to be raising leaders. I mean, I happen to have been an executive HR leader. I don't even have a degree in HR. And I never got my SPHR or any of that crap because I had people around me. I just hired those people. But the reason that I was successful in that field is because I was a leader first and a self-leader, a self-initiator, and I had a high work capacity. So really looking for things like bias for action, anticipatory skills, thinking ahead of what your leader might need or what the workforce might need, really having a high work capacity. Back in the day, we measured that. I don't know about now. My daughter is like, well, I'm running out of work. I'm going to go now. I'm like, oh my God. Oh, I shouldn't say that.
No, that's
I have two daughters. Nobody knows who I'm talking about.
Right, exactly. Who?
What?
Could be you.
Could be you. It's a different day, but I think to your point in this conversation, which I really appreciate, is that you and I are trying to remind people about the foundational elements of just relationship building and common sense and doing the right thing. But I do invite people, complain less and celebrate more. Because where the mind goes, energy flows. And if we spend too much time judging what's not going well, then we're just going to manifest more of that. And I really think every interaction, right? Every action, every reaction, every interaction, you have the opportunity to have a higher vibration, a higher energetic viewpoint that's going to raise the culture, raise the individual's performance, raise the process, right? Improve the process, support the leader, even though we missed the last two interviews. Find a way to support and anticipate his needs or her needs before, so it doesn't happen again. That's an HR partner. And it doesn't, just don't get so stuck on the rules.
Nicoa. You're amazing. Absolutely amazing. Now, okay, where can people find you?
You can find me in a number of places these days, but I've been doing a lot more speaking engagements. I do a lot of executive coaching, and I've been doing a lot on the podcast. So Coffee with Nicoa, coffeewithnicoa.com. And I also have a Nicoa.coach site that has testimonial videos of clients who've worked with me. And, I almost forgot this on another podcast interview or an Instagram Live. I just published a book, and it's not your typical Canva journal, but it's based on my years of experience of creating interactive prompts and questions for my clients that I've put into a journal. It's called Your Life by Design Journal. It's a Coffee with Nicoa self-care coaching journal, and you can buy it on Amazon. And I would really love for people to check it out. And it's making a difference.
I'm saying I'm going to give you my address.
Oh, there we go. Right. I can send you a copy right now.
I am so excited for that book. You can get it on Amazon.
You can get it on Amazon.
It's up there right
yep.
now.
Nicoa Don Cornelius. Yep.
Nicoa, in more ways than one, you have just lifted my spirits. You have really, I just, my heart is so full, and just thank you for coming on today.
You're so welcome.
Everything you said, there has to be deliberate action for something to change, right?
That's
and if we're always creating, you're either going to create the action or you're going to create the inaction, which is bad. But if you're going somewhere, and everything you said, you got to start. Just start.
Yeah.
Just, it could be small, it could be little, start it in your own life. You don't have to all of a sudden execute this thing, for your team when you don't know, kind of, it's like driving without knowing how to drive. So I encourage everybody within the sound of my voice to get a hold of you at any of the play. We're going to have where people can find you in the description. But Nicoa, you just, thank you. I can't tell you how much, and I can't wait for you to come on Extra, and I can't wait to come on your show.
I'm
can't
so
wait
excited.
Either.
Thank you for having me, Bradley. It's so fun. I always love connecting with you, and I look forward to our next encounter.
Yes, ma'am. Now, with everybody at White Husky Films, Jane's Physical Therapy, Honeycut Southern, TV Dolls, and Nicoa Cornelius, know this, that all of us love you, and God bless you. Let his face shine upon you, give you great peace, be excellent to yourself and each other, and y'all better be heading over to Amazon, because I'm getting that book.
Thank you.
We'll talk soon.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Attention lawyers. Are you tired of wasting thousands of dollars in billboards, magazines, and more with little results? If so, we can help you save big. Did you know that a powerful video can be used on practically any platform and get you more clients than just one billboard alone? Visit our website at whitehuskyfilms.com. Call or text us today to receive a limited time offer. Take advantage of this one while it's here. It won't last long.
Oh, hi. I didn't see you there. Hey, if you like Work Your Career Wednesday and want to be notified every single time we have a new episode, like, share, and subscribe. Hit that notification bell. Smash it. Get a hammer and get it. And
Yeah, that's fine.
Too much?
No, that's fine.
Are you sure?
Yeah, I love it. People want.
Do you hear Steven in the background? I was just making sure I'm going to be okay. But get that notification going. And hey, we will be letting you know, or I guess YouTube will be letting you know, when the next Work Your Career Wednesday is on. So make sure you like, share, subscribe, hit that notification bell. Man, ding it, ring it, sling it, and bing it. All right? And we will see you soon. Work Your Career Wednesday. Oh, great. I'm glad you stopped by. Be sure to get that subscription bell, and I'll see you there.